Okay, so we are back here in Control Hub. This time we are going to review the analytics. Cisco has continued to add more and more to the analytics portion of Control Hub so that you have so much data at your disposal in many different formats. So you have this visual data here. You can actually see up and downward for usage. This will give you an idea the adoption of your services, how readily are the user base utilizing the services. You can get a visual of this so that if you need to engage the adoption team to increase the usage of the services, the last thing an executive wants to see when they spend money on collaboration tools is that the end user base is not using them. So one of the reasons why analytics are so important is to understand, the usage trends within the population, and if there's a problem, to quickly address it so that the executives and the company is actually getting the benefit of the investment they made. So this is one of the things our own adoption team helps our customers with on a regular basis, to monitor the reports in this tool, and then of course teach them how to view the analytics themselves and make their own correlations. So you'll see here there's meeting usage. There's been 219 meetings. I have this on monthly view, so you can see the meetings per month. The dark blue line, of course, is just the total meetings, and then the light blue is when a video endpoint joined that meeting. One of the desires of companies is to, get the utilization out of the investment that they made in those video endpoints. And so to see folks using the video endpoints to join Webex meetings and Teams meetings and get that visual experience is what they want. So the more video usage you see within these meetings, the better that user experience is going to be, because it gives that visual, that face-to-face feel within the meeting. So you'll see meeting usage here in terms of the number of meetings a month. Over here, we'll see that the minutes usage, you can search on daily, weekly, or monthly, and then you'll see the participants in those meetings. What you can do with each of these is actually save each of these reports as a PDF, a PNG file, or CSV. I find CSV the most helpful because you can transfer that into an Excel spreadsheet and do some really cool metrics yourself with the data. In fact, I will show you that later. And then each of these has the ability to be saved as a report. And then, of course, this one as well. Down below are some participant details that show you the meeting number, the name of the meeting, who the leader was, their email. Did they have CMR, which is a video endpoint, actually CMR's personal meeting room, and did what date did they join, what was the start time and end time, the duration, what operating system and browser. We can also scroll down here and move over. And client IP address and conference ID. So it gives you a lot of metrics. Of course, this can be exported as well, and so on. So that is just the first level of metrics that you have here. If I wanted to know the average size of meetings here, I would actually download reports for the number of participants in the meetings, and then the number of meetings, so each one of these here, and then I could correlate based on these two reports the number of participants per meeting. So let me see if I can share that quickly. So here you can see that I downloaded the number of participants, and that came out to 484. Then I downloaded the number of meetings, which was 209. So I could take the 484 divided by 209 and come for an average size of meetings to be about 2.3 participants per meeting. So on the smaller side, so that the meetings being held on this site are rather small. About the 4, 5 to 6 range is generally the average use of meetings, unless you're really getting into the larger meetings. But meetings and group meetings generally is under 6, and that's just a general average. So that just shows you what you can do if you download the reports from here and then make your own correlations for data points that you're trying to drill down to. The other thing you can do here is if you had a particular need to hone in on a particular month, you could click this and then just click the little checkbox, and that actually drills down into the month of October. So then you'll have data only for the month of October showing. And so all these meetings were during the month of October. So you are able to drill down the granularity of the meetings to however you want. Then when you're finished, you can just unselect that selection, and it clears that view. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to show you, this is for meetings. Messaging is very similar. Calling is also very similar. You can see that this is for the VZ UCCaaS Webex site. You can actually, because we site linked the Verizon UCC site as well, which is managed by our Webex site admin and not managed by Control Hub, you can actually see metrics for the Verizon UCC site as well, because we did what's called site linking. So that's just another feature of, a site that's not even being managed by Control Hub, yet the analytics are flowing through to Control Hub so that you have all the metrics in a single place. So a nice feature there. And then in terms of, I wanted to show you the devices. So under devices, the reason I like to show this is because DX80s, RoomKit Minis, Webex boards, they are not cheap devices. So many companies want to make sure that they are leveraging the best they can. So here you can see device usage by activity. And then again, if you wanted to drill into a particular day, you could just click the green button here, and it'll drill down into that particular day's usage. And then what you also can do is come down here and see that average 15 hours total usage, and local sharing has been 100% of this usage here. And then you can also see which devices had high utilization with greater than 4.5 hours per day of use, and which devices had low usage. And the reason this is important is because it'll then show you, maybe you can better make use of these devices somewhere else. And maybe the high devices, maybe they're getting overused, and you could actually deploy the which are being not used well enough in those other areas that have higher usage rates. Or again, focus in on that location, and maybe there's an adoption campaign you can put in place to increase the usage in that region. And as I mentioned in a previous recording, the way you label these devices is also important, because when you do a search on, say, a low usage device or a high usage device, you want to make sure you know where it is. So a naming convention that gives you a better handle as to the building, the state, the campus location, whatever you can do to make that easier for yourself, better. So that is just a high-level overview. We're going to take our selections off up here and go back to the data up here. The other thing I would like to point out here is how these devices are being used. So you can see that the light green is in a call, the darker green is local sharing with a cable, the lighter blue is local wireless sharing, then we have some purple signage, and whiteboarding. So you can also see how those devices are being used, and you can determine that there's no purple here, so no one's using these as signage. That might be an opportunity during the downtime of a Webex board that's placed in a particular area, that it could be better utilized by putting up a curriculum of the training session that's coming up in that building that week, or welcoming a customer into a briefing center, something of that sort, so you can actually get a better feel for how the devices are being used. And that's just a good overview. So you can scroll back to previous times if you have a particular time. And then also you can, of course, download this report as well as you could with the reports on the previous pages. So that's just a high-level overview. I hope this answered some questions, and we'll see you in another module. Thank you.
Now that you've seen this UCCaaS Webex Teams demo series, including
Webex Teams, Webex Meetings,
Webex Devices and Control Hub,
Verizon Management Portal, and Contact Center,
if you'd like to arrange a demo for your customers, please reach out to your nearest DBC.
hey, don't forget folks, many of these demos can be done remotely via Webex for your accounts.
Thanks for watching.